Very good evening, everyone, and welcome to this segment of Realty Talk. I'm Eugene Lim, and joining me tonight is our CEO, Marcus Chu.
And good evening, everyone. The reason why we are doing Realty Talk is
to make sense of everything, the budget that's been announced, and also to break down all the news and its implications to you.
And most importantly is to empower you in your real estate journey. So today's Realty Talk is Making Sense Budget 2024, Property Measures, and more. Definitely more bonus for you.
That's
so
right.
Before we begin, Eugene.
Yes, so as per every presentation, the information that we prepared today is up to date, accurate at that point in time, but to all investments carry risks. So make your own risk assessments, do your financial calculations before you jump in.
So we are doing Realty Talk.
That's right.
And of course, we will cover on the following agenda.
That's right. So firstly, the budget 2024 and its implications. We will also be looking at the recent BTO sales launches, upcoming sales launches, and its implications on the resale market. And of course, the recent government land sales to date, what has been closed, what is the expected selling price of our upcoming future launches for these several plots. Just last week, the government announced the land betterment charges that has increased for certain locations. We'll be looking at these locations and what is the implications going forward. Also last week, some big news around Asia and like Hong Kong and China. And so what will be these implications and does it really affect the real estate market in Singapore? And lastly, I think many of us have heard about this new rule called the harmonization of floor area rules. And this actually affects some of the new launches going forward. And the first one online, it will be the Langtor Mansion. So we're going to deep dive into what is the harmonization of floor area rule and how it affects you, right, the potential buyer.
So we are going to spend time to deep dive into so many agenda, and I believe this will truly empower our fellow teammates and also the consumer out there.
That's right. The end objective is to give you enough information so that you can navigate the market confidently.
So let's talk about the budget 2024 and its implications.
All right. So Minister Lawrence Wong has announced several property-related measures, right, during the recent budget. So firstly, it will be the owner-occupier residential properties. So those of us who owner-occupy our residential properties, we can expect property tax relief in 2025.
I believe this definitely affect all of us.
Yes, majority of Singaporeans own their own homes and they live in their own homes. So
anything about property tax, it will affect us.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Single Singapore citizens, seniors will get ABSD concession. Previously, they don't enjoy any form of ABSD concession.
Okay, we'll go into that.
So we will go into that later. Okay. The next one, lower ABSD clawback for new project, for new home developers.
New home developers.
Yes. So there will be some tax savings, right, for certain developers who are affected by this. And lastly, we will also be looking at Parenthood Provisional Housing Scheme, PPHS. I think yesterday or the day before the announcement was made, I think just yesterday, right, what the government will be, the voucher that we have all been talking about during budget, how it can help subsidize the rental housing.
Okay, I can't wait to know what are all the implications to all of us. Firstly is the budget announcement one, owner-occupier residential properties get property tax relief from 2025. Eugene, can I explain this?
Okay, so let's look at this table. So from 2025, what the government is doing is that they will be adjusting the annual value bands across the board. So to begin, you have to understand what is annual value. Annual value is what the inland revenue assesses our annual rent of our apartment to be. So for example, if they assess that my apartment can rent out for $3,000 a month, so my annual value is 36,000.
Right.
Yeah, per year. So moving forth into 2025, starting next year, they will adjust how they calculate
The annual value.
the annual value.
Right.
All right. And so as a result, some of us, and in fact, many of us will see some tax savings when it comes to property tax.
All right, just put it this way, is actually adjust the marginal property tax rate
Yes.
on a band of property values.
I think for most of us who are property owners, I think last year, this year, we saw our property tax go up, right?
Yeah, this year, 2024, suddenly we have to pay higher property tax.
Higher property tax. So why is this so? Why is this so? Is primarily because over the last 2 years, the market rental across the board in Singapore has risen significantly. And so when IRAS calculates the annual value, which is affected by comparable rental transaction prices, which has risen, therefore our annual values are now higher, and therefore this year we actually pay higher property tax.
Right. So the rationale behind this adjusted annual value band is to
calibrate.
Recalibrate the amount of property tax that occupiers
pay. So in a nutshell, it will be less painful for us.
Okay, so let's take a look at the table.
Okay, so how much can we expect to save? Okay, mind you, this is only effective from 2025. So if we look at the property tax comparison between 2024 and 2025, the first two bands, the 12,000 as well as the 20,000 annual value, you can see this will probably cover the majority of HDB flats in Singapore. So those of us who own HDB flats and live in them, okay, you can expect some tax savings. So for example, if your annual value is 20,000, okay, if your annual value is 20,000, this year your property tax is $480 per year.
That's this year, 2024.
Yeah, 2024. So next year, because of the recalibration of the annual value, you will be paying $320. So there's actually a tax savings of $160. You pay less tax.
All right. So from 480 to 320 for the annual value of 20,000 means a 33.3% savings.
Savings, that's right. So let's look at some of our friends who stay in perhaps a condominium, a private condominium. So let's look at an annual value, say 40,000, all right, which is a representative of perhaps most of the majority of a condominium mass market. Okay, so this year their property tax bill will be 1,480 based on current annual value bands. But with the recalibration next year, 2025, their property tax will be 1,120.
Right.
So this group of people, they will be saving $360. They pay $360 less tax next year compared to this year.
And that's a savings of 24.3% for most of the condo units.
Yes. So let's look at another category, the landed property owners. So let's look at 100,000 annual value. So 100,000 annual value, perhaps living in a big landed property, bungalow, big semi-D, all right? This will be your annual value about 100,000. Your current property tax this year will be 11,980. Right? So next year, with the recalibration, you will be paying 8,620.
Okay, and that's a savings of
$3,360.
Which represents about 28%.
So that's quite significant, right? So especially for those of us who own higher properties with higher annual value.
All right. So what does that mean for you as a property owner? To give you an idea of the savings by different property type, is that for a 4-room flat with an annual value of 20,000, you will enjoy a tax savings of $160 in 2025. That is $160 savings.
Yes.
And for 3-bedroom condos with an annual value of 40,000, you enjoy a tax savings of $360 in 2025.
That's right.
And for the semi-D homes with an annual value of 85,000, can enjoy a tax savings of 2,460.
Yes.
Right.
So this will actually affect a lot of properties. Right? Marcus, I always wanted to ask you this question. How many homes are there in Singapore? So that will give us an idea of how many people will actually benefit.
And how many this tax relief can actually help.
How many homes are there in Singapore?
Right. To put things in perspective, there is a total of 1.56 million homes in Singapore as at 2023, out of which 1.13 million are HDB flats.
Wow, that's over 1 million HDB flats.
That's right.
HDB flats are all owner-occupied.
And 351 condo apartment units.
351,000.
Right, 351,000 condo apartment units. And 73,000 houses, which is the landed homes.
Yes.
Out of which 2,008 is the GCBs.
Wow.
All right. And that makes a total of 1.56 million homes.
But what's the home ownership in Singapore? It's
right.
not 100%,
Do you know that
right?
the home ownership rates is 89.7% as in 2023?
Wow.
That is like the owner-occupier property tax relief will definitely benefit a lot of people.
Okay, so this is a very good thing that our government is doing for all of us who own and occupy our homes.
All right. Let's talk about the
look at
eligible retirees. Okay, what about 2023 property tax?
Okay, so this year you are paying higher property tax, right?
Right.
So the relief, the recalibration of annual value will only come in 2025.
Right.
So this year I'm paying higher. So how? So what about? So government has what you call recalibrated an installment scheme to help eligible retirees.
So for us, our installment scheme is 12 months.
Yes, 12 months. You and I, we can pay 12 months, right? But what about seniors, right? Seniors have, and they are not working, right?
So
retirees.
To be eligible, what's the definitions of seniors?
So seniors eligibility must be age 65 and above.
Okay, and if you are 65 and above,
okay, you have something to gain.
Right.
Okay, you are living in the property that you own, and you have an accessible income of 34,000 or less.
All right.
And you
have outstanding property tax payable in the property. So you will be given 24 months of installment plan for that property tax for this year.
Yeah, so if we look at that simple calculation example, so the retired couple 67 living in a landed property with annual value of 55,000, you will have to pay 2,980 property tax in 2024. So if you go for the 12-month installment scheme, your installment per month is $248 per month.
Right, if you go for 24 months,
you go for 24 months, you have 124. Essentially, you half it, right? Which is easier on your pocket.
So you still have to pay, just that you drag longer.
Correct.
All right.
But it's interest-free. Okay.
Okay, let's talk about the budget announcement number 2, which is on single Singapore citizen seniors to get ABSD concession when right-sizing to a lower value property.
So the key word here is right-sizing to a lower value property.
So what's the purpose of this scheme?
Okay, so this scheme is to enable, seniors, single seniors in particular, to right-size their property. So actually, when you sell your existing property and you buy a new property before you sell your existing property, you have to pay ABSD.
Right.
That's the fundamental principle because you buy before you sell.
Right.
So by introducing this new scheme, it actually enables you to claim back the ABSD that you already paid.
Hey, actually, there is this scheme for married couple that was introduced prior to this budget scheme.
Yes. So for married couples in Singapore, if you were to buy a residential property first, before you sell your existing one, you pay the ABSD.
Okay, we can show this table here.
Correct.
All right, which is the before 16 February.
Yes.
And with effect from 16 February. All right, how will this budget affect the single and Singapore citizen senior?
Okay, so let's look at before 16 Feb.
All right.
So we use the example of a senior married couple to explain. Okay, so if you look at the senior married couple, if he were to sell private, then buy HDB flat.
Sell private,
Okay,
buy
HDB
HDB flats. All
So
right.
because under HDB rules, you cannot own private. So as long as you sell the private, the remission, okay, you'll be exempted from the 15-month wait out period because you are buying a 4-room HDB flat or smaller.
Okay.
And because for you are senior, so you are entitled to a remission of ABSD.
Which means you do not have to pay ABSD upfront.
Yes, by right, if you buy first, then you sell, you have to pay ABSD.
Right, but because it's HDB flats,
yes,
you
do
do
not
not have to.
sell. Yeah.
Right, that's only for
seniors.
Senior married couple.
Yeah. So if we look at this same group of people, and after 15 Feb, it's essentially the same, not affected. So
Sure.
this policy does not.
Sure, but if the senior married couples choose to sell their private and down right size to another private,
right, then they actually have to pay their ABSD.
pay the ABSD first.
Okay, because ABSD is payable within 14 days from the time they enter into a legally binding contract to buy their property. So actually they pay money first.
Right.
Right. Then later you can actually get back a refund, and this is only for married couples, Singaporean married couples.
Right.
Okay. You can apply for the refund to get back this money that you have paid to IRAS.
Right. So this only applies to this refund of ABSD only applies to the married couple if they were to
correct.
right size from private to private.
Yes. Because if we were to look at the senior,
all right,
the single senior, if he were to do the same thing, buy private, he has to pay the ABSD first.
Right.
But there's no refund.
Right.
Because this group of people are not eligible for refund. This is before
16
February.
Right.
So the major change is this after 16 February.
Okay.
So for a senior, all right, single senior, he can have the option of buying a private first. Pay the ABSD, later sell away his existing property within 6 months, all right, and apply for refund.
So who will benefit from this change?
So if you look at who is benefiting from this change, likely it will be the single seniors. There are seniors who are single, right? There are seniors who are divorcees, okay, so they're single. And there are seniors who are widows or widowers. So this will be genuinely
so all these
very
group will not be
helpful.
left out.
Yes, but previously they don't have the option to buy private property.
They can.
They have, but they cannot get back the
ABSD
money.
refund.
Right. So previously they could only have the option of buying HDB flat because HDB flat there's remission. You don't have to pay.
Right.
Yeah. As long as you sell within the 15 months.
Okay. So if what if they are unable to pay the ABSD first?
So you basically have to pay first, right?
The
because
initial 20% ABSD, say if they do not have that.
Yeah. So if you will buy a $1.5 million property, 20% ABSD is 300,000.
Right.
So you have to pay this 300,000 first, right? So if you can't pay this 300,000 first, then you have to sell the existing property before you buy.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's no other option. You have to sell your private property first.
But this
before you buy another private property.
Some of my senior friends who tell me this, I say, actually, I can actually take out the money from my CPF, right? And just take out the money, pay first the ABSD, because later I'll get it back, right? I'll get back the refund, I'll put it back in my CPF.
Is there a time frame for them to sell their private property?
They have to sell the private property within 6 months
Oh, that's quite reasonable.
of the purchase. So bear in mind, time is of the essence. You cannot delay.
Okay, Eugene, can you give us some example? Say, for example, a private property owners, the private landowners who wants to right size to a condominium and a new condominium from a new launch project. All right, what is the real benefits?
Okay, so let's look at the example that we have worked out here. So let's say Miss Tan is a widower. Okay, own a landed property in Teachers Estate.
Right.
So now, big house, old person, no point. All right, so decides to downgrade to an apartment. So let's say
from the value of the landed property is $6 million.
Yeah. So if you were to purchase a new 2-bedroom at Lentor Hills
Estates,
say about
which is quite near to Teachers Estates.
Yeah, 1.5 mil. Then your ABSD payable for this 1.5 mil property is 300,000.
Right.
Okay. So 300,000 will be funded back to you. You got to pay first within 14 days of signing the sales and purchase agreement.
Okay, pay first.
Pay first. Then
No issue, like you said, they are around CPF.
Yes, correct.
Mm-hmm.
So later on, okay, when you because it's a new project, all right. So when you move in TOP, okay, you have 6 months to sell your private.
So the 6 months is from the key collections.
Yes, because in this case you're buying a new project. So I mean, you buy a new project, you can't move in straight away. What? You have to wait for it to be completed. You move in from TOP. 6 months.
I see. So it's not from buying that new homes and exercise options and you have 6 months.
No. But if you buy a resale, then it's immediate 6 months from the time you enter.
I see. So the real benefits is if you buy a new home, you can actually continue to stay
in your landed
property
until the new home is completed.
And during that construction phase over the next 3 years, if land cost is continue to rise and property prices continue to rise,
then you
will enjoy appreciation.
Sell more than $6 million.
Right. You will continue to enjoy the appreciation in your landed property.
Yes, correct.
Okay, I think that's pretty
that's a good idea, in fact.
Actually, there are more examples here.
Yes. So we have another example. So for example, you're staying not in a landed, you're staying in an old condo. Okay. So Miss Lim is single, 62 years old, has been living in a 3-bedroom in Bullion Park. All right. Wishes to unlock some money for retirement. So the value of this Bullion Park apartment is say $2 million, right?
Right.
So I can buy a new 2-bedroom, okay, in the same location, okay, for at 1.25 million.
Okay.
Okay, and then my ABSD payable at 20% is actually 250,000.
Okay.
So again, if you're buying new, you can live in your existing property until TOP, right? Then you 6 months to sell.
So similar.
Yeah, similar.
And how about if you, once again, another example, if you were to own a landed property in Diamond,
okay,
and buy a 2-bedroom unit in the East Coast.
So same thing is just different location, okay? Diamond, you buy a 2-bedroom in East Coast area.
So the right size is from 8 million to 2 million.
2 million, yeah. So the keyword is right size means the property that you are buying must be lower price than your current property.
So actually, I'm very curious. So what's the difference between right size and downgrade?
Right size in terms of the smaller size and smaller budget. The whole idea is to, because of the aging population, is to enable you to release the funds that is tied into your existing property. So that you have the option to use it or invest it.
Right. So like right size means smaller size.
Smaller size and cheaper price.
Must be both.
Cheaper price.
And must be both.
Yes.
Smaller size and cheaper size.
Price.
And cheaper price. Okay.
The only way to get cheaper price is buy smaller size.
Okay. How about example 4? Same thing, you can buy a condo in the east side.
Yes.
And also buy a 1-bedroom unit that is a brand new condos in the East Coast.
Yes.
And you can enjoy staying in your landed property until 6 months, within 6 months of the key collections to dispose of your landed property.
That's right.
All right, but the key is you have to pay the ABSD first.
Correct.
Okay, these are for single, all these example is for the single seniors.
Yes. If you're married, you already enjoy this.
Okay, just once again,
yeah.
How do you define senior?
65 and above.
65 and above.
Single, right? Living in the owner-occupied property, and you have to sell it within 6 months. And you're buying a lower price property.
All right, let's go for the third budget announcement, which is
this affects developers.
All right.
Lower ABSD clawback
rates for new home development.
Let's look at the details. Okay. So previously, developers, there's a ABSD remission clawback at 35% of land value. Means if you never sell finish.
All right, and that is for projects with residential land acquired on and after 16 December 2021.
Yes.
So for all these projects sitting on residential land, their ABSD remission clawback is before 16 February. If you have not fully sold your projects in the development, the developer has to pay
35%
of what?
Of the land value.
Of the land value.
Yes.
Plus
interest.
Interest.
Yes.
So the interest is
5%.
5% compound interest.
Yes.
over
That's
the
a lot of
last
money.
5 years.
Yeah,
Wow, that's a lot of money.
that's right.
Okay, so in this case, right now the new budget, what's the difference?
Okay, the new budget measures is that after 16 Feb, all right, if you, as long as you, let's say you have unsold units and it is not more than
10%.
10%, right? Then you will enjoy
So if you have sold 90% or
lesser
more
clawback.
of the units,
So
the
let's look at the
clawback will be
table.
lesser.
Okay, let's look at the table. So for example, you have
Less than 90% is 35%.
you have 90% exactly.
90% exactly is
90%,
34%.
yes, your clawback is 34%. But
Right.
let's say you have 99% sold.
99%
That
sold
means
is
1% unsold. Your clawback is 25%.
okay. 100% sold is 0%.
Yeah, correct.
All right. So there is a tier
Yes.
from
Whereas
90%.
previously is a flat 35% plus interest. Yeah.
Sure. So the tier is from 35% down to 25%,
Yeah.
corresponding from the proportion of units sold from 90% to
Yes.
99%.
Yeah. So while you still must pay, not that you don't need to pay,
Right.
all right, it does give developers some respite and some confidence when they bid for upcoming government land sales sites.
Okay.
Because there's always this, what if I cannot sell finish?
Let
within
us
the 5
quote a
years?
hypothetical example,
Okay.
Eugene. How much ABSD's savings will
Okay.
developer get?
Okay, so let's look at an example where, there is a,
$1 billion site.
yes, a
that
$1 billion
is,
site with 700 units, okay?
Okay, purchased in January 2023, and that's only last year. So it's
Yes.
within that time frame.
Yeah. So if we look at let's say he sold 90%,
So 90%.
90%, so in before 16th of February, he will pay 35%. That's a
35%.
whopping 350 million.
Wow,
Right.
that is crazy. So the units unsold, 70 units.
Yeah.
For that 70 unit unsold, the developer have to pay 350 million plus 5% compound
Yes,
interest
that's a lot of money.
over the many years.
Yes.
Okay.
So with the new scheme,
So after
Alright.
16 February 2024,
okay, so the clawback is less.
the clawback is less.
Yeah.
All right, how much lesser? Now is
So
90% is 34%.
34%. So it's 314 mil,
Okay,
10 million less.
10 million lesser.
Yes. Yeah.
But if you are able to sold until 99%,
Yes. Then the difference is significant.
so it's dropped from 340 million all the way down to,
250 mil.
all right, so there are some savings,
Yes.
some substantial savings for
Correct.
developer on this ABSD clawback.
Yes.
Okay, this is another hypothetical example on a site of 500
500
million.
units.
A
So-
smaller sites
so-
with 500 units purchased in
Yes.
June 2023.
Yeah.
Okay,
So proportionately lesser, lah. I mean, that's a
Sure.
simple way of looking at it.
sure.
right?
Even if you are left with 5 units,
Yes.
all right, which is 1%, that means you have sold 99%.
Yeah.
Okay, you still have to pay a ABSD of
125 mil.
125
Mil.
million.
Yes.
Wow. So
Compared to 175 mil previously.
okay,
Yeah.
so there's a savings of 50 million, but still very high at
Yes.
125 million. So,
So, Well,
what this
what's the
means?
implication?
What this means? Yes, Eugene, I would like to ask you.
So if you will ask me if I'm a developer, will I pay the ABSD, right? Or would I
What
do something?
will you do
Yeah.
if you have a balance of 1% unit, Eugene?
Okay. I instinctively will try and clear stock. Right? I will try and sell.
Sure.
So how will I try and sell?
I think all developers
Yeah.
wants to have 100%
Yeah.
sold in their new
Yes.
development.
I won't be inclined to want to pay ABSD.
Definitely. I mean, there's
Yeah,
the hundreds
because-
over thousands,
yeah,
hundred over
correct.
millions of ABSD.
Because it's money outflow, there's no income. I would rather focus my energy on generating income, clearing the remaining stock.
Okay, so by generating income means developer will increase on their marketing budget.
Yes, so I will one of the ways to make sure I sell quickly is to increase marketing budget, right? Increase the A&P, increase the efforts that the money that I spend to push the sales.
And can developer ask for an appeal?
Well, if I try all I can,
Mhm.
I increase my marketing budget, I endeavor, I push, I work very hard, but I still cannot clear all the unit, then of course, my next best option is to show cost. I have done all I can, I still cannot sell. I appeal, can I have an extension of time?
Okay.
Right? So when you appeal and you ask for extension of time, I think government generally, while it's not written in black and white, they will generally look at the merits of each case and consider your appeal.
So by hook or by crook, developer will want to clear 100% of all the units in the developer.
Yes.
In the development, am I right?
Yes, because they won't want to end up in a case where they have to appeal, because it will become a big question mark whether they eventually the appeal will be successful or not.
So I believe all of us are very curious. Is there any area that we should be looking at that has many excessive new launch?
Okay.
Where is most likely to be affected by this ABSD clawback?
Well, this is, some people say, in certain locations, right, where there are a lot of unsold
concentration of
new launches, right?
All right.
It could be affected.
So
it could happen.
It means the developers that is building the new developments in a location where there's a lot of new launches, they are competing with one another, it's more difficult to sell.
Yes.
So there is a chance that they can't sell 100% within 5 years.
5 years. There's a probability that there will be unsold stock in that location.
So Market Watcher says that these will be an opportunity for home buyers that they can buy probably at a big discount eventually towards the ABSD deadline.
Yes.
Is that correct?
It's a hope.
Okay, so let's take a look and study whether this is true. Okay, example 1, Lentor Hill Estate. Is there urgency to cut price, Eugene?
Okay, so if we look at Lentor Hills, which has a huge concentration of launches.
But recently, we see quite a lot of launches in Lentor Hill area.
Yeah, there are existing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 projects that is already on the market. Right, some have launched earlier, some is just launched, and some is getting ready to launch.
Right, 4 have launched and 1 is in the pipeline.
Yes, correct. So
and there are 2 other sites.
There's a lot of units in this area. So is there an urgency? All right.
But let's take a look at the sales figure.
Okay. So if we look at the sales figures, Lentor Modern is there's only 2% unsold. Lentor Hills,
only 2% unsold.
Yeah, they have sold the majority of it because they launched earlier. Lentor Hills Residences,
but they still have 28 months to go.
Yeah, and they have 28 months to go to sell the remaining 2%.
2% of 605 unit is about 13 units.
Yes.
Okay. Almost done.
Yeah, almost done. All right.
So how about Lentor Hill Residences?
Lentor Hill Residences, 22% unsold. They have 34 months to clear stock.
Which is about 3 years.
Yeah. Okay. Hilllock Green, 62% unsold. All right. But they have 42 months to clear this 62%.
Okay.
All right. Langtoria, which just went on sale last week. All right. Obviously, it has just started. So, but they have 42 months to clear.
So it's almost 80% unsold, but they have 42 months to clear.
But it's 80% of 260 units. So while it looks like 80 over percent, it's not a lot of units.
Right. Yeah. So I understand that Lentoria, I mean, from these numbers, you have just sold only about 20%. Does this mean that sales are slowing down in this vicinity, like what some market watchers say?
No. Because on the day that they start the sales booking, Lentor Modern show flat open for viewing. The preview started on the same day they do sales booking. So, and as we are aware, the majority of buyers in the Lentor Hills area, they buy for their own stay.
Right.
So as a owner-occupier, I would definitely want to check out all my options before I commit. Right?
Yeah, that's natural.
Yeah. So what we have seen is that people tend to move around, look at the various options, compare first.
Right. So they need some time
before they come back.
They decide.
Yes.
Okay, to do their pick.
The two products, as we know it, are similar yet different. So later we'll look at it, Lentoria, Lentor Mansion. There will be some differences.
Okay, why Lentor Mansion is 100%? Because it has not launched for booking.
Yeah, it's not open for booking. Yes. Show flat is open for booking.
Show flat is open for booking. Yeah. Okay, sure. So this is on that note that to answer the fact that whether there is a concentration in the Lentor Hill estates In our opinion, we don't think so.
Yes.
We think that
There is still sufficient time.
for the remaining months
Yeah.
towards ABSD deadline is still very long,
Yes.
and there is no issue of getting it 100% so.
So over at the East Coast area, there is also a concentration of launches.
So is there a chance the developer will cut price?
Okay, again, we have presented a table there.
Okay, let's check it out again.
The key point is this: remaining units versus number of months left.
Remaining units. All right.
And if we look at
So
the numbers in
unsold,
blue, the numbers in blue are the months
versus
left.
number of months left. So there's still a lot of months left. It's like 3 to 5 years.
Correct. Yeah, 3 to 5 years left to clear stock. So,
so the question we have to ask ourselves: do you think developer can get the unit fully sold within 3 to 5 years?
If we look at past examples, most developers would work towards achieving 100% sales before they hit the fire mark. Nobody wants to pay ABSD.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go about ABSD crawback scheme. So the next budget announcement, which is
PPHS, the vouchers.
in short for Parenthood Provisional Housing.
Yes. During budget,
Provisional Housing.
DPM Lawrence Wong said that the government will be giving vouchers to help subsidize the
only eligible
rent.
family will qualify for this subsidy.
Correct. So let's look at the
which is
details.
to defray rental costs from the open market.
So question one was, what was the amount? You know? So finally we know. It was announced just, I think, a few days ago.
So
$300.
$300 a month. So a year about $3,600.
Yes, correct.
So for $300 a month, how much can you defray from home renter?
I think if you were to rent a whole flat, it's at least $3,000.
Because now the median rent currently is between 2,003 to 3,000 or 2,300 to be exact, to 3,080 for 3-room flats.
Yes. So
that's island-wide.
Yes, island-wide.
So the rental voucher will likely to offset about 10 to 15%.
Yeah, 10%.
10 to 15%.
Yeah,
right.
Of
the rental cost.
Yeah. Alternatively, if you rent a room, it's the same $300 voucher.
So
right?
most
you
likely,
rent a whole
most likely the couple will rent a room.
Right? For $1,000 over dollars.
Right, maybe 1,500
to defray the cost.
So you minus 300, you still have to pay 1,200.
Correct.
But better than nothing, right?
Yeah, correct. So there are some criteria to qualify. You need to have a monthly household income of 7,000.
All right, so you must fulfill these conditions in order to get this.
Already booked a BTO flat.
PPHS.
Yes.
Okay, you have to have a monthly household income of 7,000 or below, and have booked an uncompleted flat from HDB sales exercise.
Yes.
All right, so much about the 4 government budgets schemes.
Yes.
Let's move into
BTO.
the next hot topic, which is
BTO flat.
All right, so BTO February 2024. Tonight we will be talking about all the BTOs in all these locations. So there are 4,126 flats offered in February 2024.
As we know it, this year there will only be 3 launches, 3 BTO launches. So one's in February, one in June, and one probably in October.
Okay, so this is a summary of February BTO,
launch,
which is about 4,000 units.
So if
4,000 flats.
Yes. So if you look at February's launch, the table there, okay, we highlighted 16.3 times the first timer singles.
That is application rates.
Application rate.
Application rate is defined as?
One flat got 16 persons chasing after it.
Okay, and that is for that Hougang area.
Yes. So that's how you understand application rate.
And that's for first-time single.
Yes.
That's for first-time single.
First-timer singles.
All right. So there's also first-timer families.
That's right.
It's 0.3
0.3. So 0.3 is actually very good. That means you almost sure get.
Confirm sure get.
Confirm sure get.
All right. Yeah, as long as you get less than 1, you confirm sure get.
Correct.
How about the second-time family?
Second-time families, because the number of flats are apportioned for second-time families are lesser. So actually you have a lesser quantity. As long as you have more people fight for it, then the application rate increases.
So if I look at the second-time families here, the Bedok flats is very well received for the second-timer, which is 4.2 times.
Correct.
Okay, so we move on to the to this BT exercise also extend to all these areas.
Yes, all these other
actually,
areas.
this 4,001 flats is offered in many areas in Singapore.
Yeah.
mainly are in the matured estates. Huh?
There's a good variety. Normally, every BTO launch, you will see mature estate.
Hey, Eugene, I'm seeing that the second-timer families have an application rate of 25.7% for Hougang.
Yes.
And also another area in Punggol.
Yeah.
And another one in Woodlands.
So second timers are those people that
Wow, can you imagine there's a
own
73.8 application rate for Queenstown, or a hot property.
Yes.
73.8
Yes.
per that's application rate.
Yes,
for
because
one
it's
flat.
a mature estate, so the number of flats set aside for second timers is only 5%.
I think the chance is very, very, very low.
Yes.
To get that unit.
Yeah, 73 persons going after one flat.
Okay, so we put all this into perspective by showing you a chart like this.
Yeah.
It only shows that the application rates for second timer is so high.
Yeah.
And it's actually rising. Is there a reason for that? Why the February 2024 application rate is going higher?
Okay, you're likely to see this for BTO flats because BTO flats, the vast majority of the number of flats is set aside for first timers. So they proportion out. The number of units set aside for second timers is very little. So especially in certain locations, just like just now you see 73 times application rate, right? Number of flats very little. A lot of people want it. A lot of second timers want it. Then you end up with a super overblown application rate. Yeah.
Okay, is this also something to do with the plus and prime flat that is subjected to that 10-year MOP?
Yes.
That's
you
coming
see,
our
right
way?
now on the market, there's only prime location and normal.
Yeah, that's standard.
Standard flat, right? So the prime location is subjected to 10 years MOP, but the standard flat, no. It's the normal 5-year MOP.
It's 5-year MOP, yeah.
But come second half of this year, that means the October launch will be affected. October BTO launch will be affected.
So you probably have location like what we have seen earlier on, like Queenstown.
So some of the locations here that is actually classified as normal 5-year MOP will eventually become plus location where they're subjected to a 10-year MOP.
And also eligibility to resale to another buyer with income cap.
Yes, there's income cap. So there are a lot of restrictions. So that's why there's a rush, sort of a rush now for better located BTO flats.
Okay, so there is
which is still subject to the 5-year MOP instead of 10-year MOP.
Right. Yeah. So what? Let me just show you this slide, which is the final launch before reclassifications.
Yeah.
That's in June 2024.
Yes. So if you want to ride on this current chase for better located flats, all right, before you hit the September, October launch, which is the Prime Plus model, then this will be the last one.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Wow. They are all in very, very good location, and I think this will all be the plus location in the near future.
Yes, correct.
Okay. There is also a new rules that's announced on 5th March.
Yesterday. Just a few days ago.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you tell us more about it?
Okay. So the down payment is now half to...
Okay. Down payment for BTO flats is?
5%.
Only 5%?
Yes, 5%. So everybody got to pay 5%,
With
right?
the new scheme now?
With the new scheme is 2.5%, but who is eligible? Full-time students, okay, and national servicemen.
I see.
Okay, full-time student, how to buy flat?
Well,
could be you're studying in a university.
Well, we have a lot of
undergraduates. As long as you're above 21 years old.
Who are working.
Yes.
And at the same time studying.
Yes.
They are doing part-time in anything.
Yes, correct.
So there's some income and probably even some CPF.
Yes.
Okay. Is there any minimum age requirement?
You have to be minimum 21 years old.
To enter the contract, you got to be at least 21 years old, right? All right. I don't think below that you can get.
This scheme, I think, it encourages more people to start earlier in their BTO journey. All right, BTO journey. So it's actually a good thing. It encourages people to apply for a flat early, get their flat early, start their family early, and therefore you start your property ownership and journey earlier.
All right, and you can start owning an asset early.
Correct, which is a good thing because by the time you 5-year MOP, all right, and you decide to sell your BTO flat and upgrade to another type of property, then you have a longer runway.
Yes, actually this is what we teach our fellow participant for our Millionaire Investor
Correct.
Masterclass to start
Early.
as early
So
as possible in your
Yeah.
property investment journey.
Correct. So you have a longer runway. You're able to leverage.
Okay, whether
On
you
the
are
time.
going for that BTO flats or going for that condo, it's always wise to start early.
Yes.
All right, so this program actually complements what we teach all our students.
Yeah. Wonder if the government have been listening to our.
So let's take a look at the summary.
Yeah.
On the map itself for the February and June BTO launches, they are all over the island, right?
That's right.
And how about the upcoming sites?
So upcoming sites are in red. So you find that they are a good mix in various locations. You have Kallang Whampoa, Queenstown, Jurong, Tampines.
Right. So the upcoming site, I think there's one site in Yishun, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Yishun site, there are about 10,000 homes will be built in Yishun Estate at Chanchuru.
Yes. In fact, this was just announced again yesterday or the day before.
And 80% is for public housing.
Where's Chanchuru?
Well, do you remember that former Bottle Tree Park?
Oh, yeah. Bottle tree. The tree that looks like a bottle, right?
Right,
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
place. Remember
the
playing
place.
paintball
Yeah, okay.
and doing prawn fishing?
So that place
That
closed
location?
already. The land has gone back to government, right?
Yeah, I understand
Yeah.
that in June 2024, there will be 1,270
Yes.
BTO to be launched in
Okay.
this location.
So for another way to remember where's Chanchuru is Khatib. Khatib.
Oh, very near to Khatib.
Khatib.
And
Yeah.
Khatib, are all the old flats, right?
Yes, correct.
So this will
Rejuvenate.
inject, all the new flats in that location.
About out of the 10,000 homes to be built in this area, about 8,000 will be HDB flats.
Okay, then we have to talk about the potential housing also in Gilman Barracks.
Yes, Gilman Barracks, as we know, is very near to Keppel, right? Keppel site. And it's actually a very nice location, all right? And it used to be an army camp, right? I think when I was much younger, the combat engineers used to be there. Yeah.
Okay, so the key question is the resale market affected by BTO launches?
Is the resale market affected by BTO launches? I think the BTO complements the resale market.
Actually, you're
Why?
absolutely right. Because from the research department, what we have done is we deep dive into HDB resale transactions versus BTO launch over the past years.
Yeah.
Okay, and to our knowledge is that when there is lower BTO launch, okay, the resale is lower.
Uh-huh.
When there is higher BTO launch, the resale transaction is higher.
Yes.
So when there is lower BTO launch, the resale is lower.
Yeah.
When there is higher BTO launch, the resale is higher. Lower BTO launch, resale is lower.
Oh, something
So
like
it's proportional.
private property market, same thing.
Right. So if new home launch, private property new home launch
then
is
resale also
high,
pick up.
resale will also be high.
Yeah.
So which means the more BTO launches there will be, the more HDB resale transactions there will be. Because HDB buyers are most likely to be the first timer with urgent housing needs.
Yes.
And I believe because of the high application rates, the second timer may not be able to get their BTO flats.
Yeah.
And after many tries, and it's proven very difficult to secure BTO flats, they will
Buy
go for the resale.
Correct. Because as you can see, some of the application rates for second timers for the BTO flats is very high.
And I also know that there is a problem on the income cap.
Yeah.
And most of the applicants actually exceed the income cap.
Yeah.
And they're not eligible to buy BTO. That's why they have to go to the resale market.
That's right.
Okay. And of course, resale property has its advantage also because of locations of preference.
Yes. You can buy in a location where you're familiar with and it's ready to move in.
And moreover,
Don't have to
the
wait.
HDB resale flat comes with a housing grant.
Yes.
And this will benefit eligible buyer.
Correct.
Okay, so we are doing Realty Talk tonight. And of course, we will be talking about
government land sales.
2024. So just now we talked about BTO sales. Now let's talk about government land sales.
Government
So
land sales, as we know, developers, major
buy-
source of land comes from government
They buy
land
for
sales.
development of EC and also buy for
Yes.
development of private
Yeah.
condos.
So let's look at some of the sites that were
Okay.
sold.
Let's talk about the Plantation Close. That is
Yeah.
the site for executive condos.
Yes.
This was sold recently
Yeah.
at
42.3 mil,
at the land cost of
701.
701 per square foot per plot
Yes.
ratio,
And
which give us
this-
an estimate launch price of from
155.
1550
for EC.
per square foot for the
Yeah.
EC.
Yeah.
So what does this mean to homeowners who want to buy an EC if their loan eligibility is for a 16K household?
So I did a quick calculation, Marcus. I think because EC's eligibility or maximum income is 16,000. If you cross 16,000, you cannot buy EC. All right?
Sure.
So 16,000 for EC buyers, they are subjected to a mortgage servicing ratio.
MSR.
MSR of 30%.
Right.
So if we take 16,000, MSR 30%, how much money you can borrow? About 1 million.
So you may not be able to cover that.
About 1 million, which means 75% loan is 1 million. Then your purchase price of the EC.
So if it's 1,000 square feet EC multiplied by 1,005, so it's 1.5 million.
Yeah. So you can only afford up to 1.3 mil. Then what happened to the 200? So there's some buyers have this difficulty. It's very real on the ground. Yeah.
Okay. So the loan amount may not be 75%.
Yeah.
Will probably be 60%. So there is a chance that you have to fork out
more cash.
The difference with cash.
However, if you were to buy private, private not subjected to the mortgage servicing ratio.
Right.
So if I were to take the same 16,000 income bracket, and I use TDSR to calculate, because TDSR is 55%, right? 50%. So if you use that to calculate, essentially you can borrow more money. Okay, you probably could comfortably afford a property around 2 million, 2.2.
Yeah, but buy as per your financial capability.
Yes.
Okay. Of course, if you can eligible for EC, then it's always good to go for EC.
Buy what you're comfortable with and what.
And you have savings to pay the difference between loans and that 75%. Then you have to pay for cash.
Yes.
You pay the top up by cash. Okay, the next GLS site is in Media Circle.
Yes, Media Circle.
And this is near to the MediaCorp location. There's One North location. Is that correct?
Yes, the One North location.
Okay, so this site was sold at 1,191 per square foot per plot ratio.
Yes.
Estimated, we have calculated the estimated future launch price will be around 2,005 per square foot and above. All right, if we look at the vicinity in that Media Circle, the current selling price have actually crossed 2,006.
That's right.
All right, at Terra Hill.
Terra Hills.
And the freehold development.
Terra Hills and then Blossoms.
But the One North locations, the hill at One North, all these are sold around, estimated around 2005.
Yes.
Okay. And there will be Hillshore that is going to launch. Okay, that is about 2005.
Yes.
Okay, Blossom by the Park, right now is at 2004 plus.
Yes, almost 2005.
So it's almost there. So the price will be well supported by these Media Circle land sales that will be launching in probably next year, second and third quarter. Yeah. Okay, the next GLS site is at the Marina Bay location.
Oh, this one not awarded.
Actually, this one is the top of the town.
Yeah.
All right, because this Marina Gardens Crescent site is not awarded to the sole bidder. There's only one bidder developer that's bid for this site.
So on tender closing day when we saw one bidder only, we say, oh shit, there's a quite likelihood that it may not be awarded.
Actually, more to that, the price is below $1,000 per square foot per plot ratios for the Marina Garden Crescent white site.
Yeah.
And even lower than
Media Circle.
Yep. So what this means is the bid price was nearly 30% lower than the nearby site that is purchased by Kingsford Group, which paid for the plot in Marina Garden Lane at 1,402 per square foot per plot ratio. So my question to you, Eugene, what if the site is really awarded to the developer who bids at 984 per square foot per plot ratio?
Oh, then he's very happy because it doesn't mean that he will have to sell at lower price. He will sell at the market price around there, and he makes more money.
Right. Yeah. So, but then the government land sales will have a big drop in their recorded price.
Correct.
From the first site to the second site.
I think they are custodian of our land resources. So there is always a reserve price which the government is prepared to sell. I mean, in certain cases where even there is one bidder, but the bid price is above the reserve price, then I think the government is prepared to sell.
I'm sure the government is very, very prudent in assessing the bid itself. Yes. And in this case,
It's below market.
Yes, it is definitely
It was
below.
definitely an opportunistic bid that is put in by the developers. Yeah.
Okay,
Trying
let's
to-
take a look at the next GLS site, which is at Orchard Boulevard.
Yes, Orchard Boulevard is
Hey, this site is very interesting. It's
Yeah.
next to the Orchard Boulevard MRT station.
correct. And the bid price for the land is 1617. Right?
Per square foot per plot
16
ratio.
per plot
And the
ratio.
estimated launch price next year, in second quarter to third quarter, is about 3,006 per square foot.
Because the going around Orchard area is already 3,000 plus.
All right, so if we look at the
Yeah.
nearby properties, such as the Orchard, this
Nasim.
Cascadian
Yeah.
Reserve,
Yes. Transacted
the
for
last transacted median price is about 3,633.
3633.
And 19 Nasim
Yeah.
transacted is at 3,439. This is
Yeah.
on the median price per square foot.
Correct.
Okay, wait a minute. Do you know that there is very attractive and good deals in this location?
Oh, is it? What's the good deal?
Check this out, Eugene. Do you know that Cascadian Reserve is offering prices
Wow.
from 2,009 per square foot? Even though earlier on I've just said that
3633.
yes,
Wow.
it was sold at about 3,006 plus, right? So
Okay.
right now it's offering at 2,900 per square foot
Wow.
upwards.
For Cascadian address.
I think this is
It's
an
a
opportunity of a
Fantastic
lifetime.
opportunity.
It's an opportunity of a lifetime. And if you take a look at this, is that a good deal? You decide.
Yes.
All right, nearby transactions like 19 Nasim, it is transacted at 3,004 plus.
Mm.
All right, Cascadian Reserve, it was transacted at 3,006 plus, and
Now
now
it's 29.
relaunched at this price from 2009. So
Wow.
there is a very attractive price difference
Yes.
from the earlier buyers and the future buyers.
Yeah.
So I think this
Worth checking it out.
is definitely worth checking out. But if you look at the nearby locations, that is probably not so near, but further away,
Yeah.
like Awell Hill
Well, it's
Residences
29.
is at 2009 already,
Yeah.
and it's also One Holland Village, which is pretty far away
Holland
in
V.
the Holland
Yeah.
V location. It is going at 2,944 per square foot.
Yeah.
So if you are buying an address that is in Cascadian,
Cascadian.
it's at 2,900.
Yeah. $1 million views.
Let me ask you, is that a good deal?
Very good deal.
Okay, so the next thing that we are talking about tonight is land betterment
Betterment
charge.
yeah.
In short, LB charge. In the past, we call this
LBC.
LD.
LBC. Last time it's called development
LBC.
charge.
Last time it's called development charge.
Ah.
DC.
DC.
Okay, so what's the big deal about land betterment charge?
Okay, on the whole, LBC increased by 0.1%, a bit. Okay,
Okay.
from September. You know, every year in March and in September, the government revises the rate for LBC
So LBC is proportional
to
to
market
the
movement.
recent transaction in that.
Yes, correct.
region and
so while
location.
across the board it seems to have increased 0.1%, we saw larger increase. The biggest increase was in sector 104 and
103 and 104.
which is essentially Toa Payoh
Mhm.
and Clementi. Okay.
Toa Payoh and Clementi area.
So why these areas saw big increase was largely driven by the
the
government
GLS
land sales
site that was sold recently.
Yes, last year Toa Payoh, right?
Toa Payoh,
As well as Clementi.
right.
So and also, so land price went up. So the LBC in the area, the land price have to adjust upwards. Now areas where it's biggest. So what's the implication of, increasing LBC?
Well, for government land sales, let's put it this way: there is a standard gross floor area
Yes.
that is specified by the government land
Yeah.
in the government land sales that the developer can build.
Yeah, so you can
So-
gauge this from the plot ratio, right?
So as long as the government builds within that GFA,
Yes.
there is no land betterment charge.
Charge.
However, if it's for en-bloc sales,
Yes.
okay, there's
Yeah.
a chance that developer have to factor in this
the
in order to
LBC.
work out that.
And higher LBC means
And of course, if you are a
Ah.
developer, if you are buying en-bloc developments from all the en-blocs owner, you have a budget price in mind.
yes.
And now that there is an increase
It's
in
in
land
LBC.
betterment charge, they have to factor in
Yes.
into that eventual proceeds that will goes to the
Yes.
owner. So that doesn't mean that the owner will up their offer. They
Yeah.
will probably give the same offer,
Yeah.
but the net proceeds to the owner will be lower.
Yes, correct.
So the owner has to be more realistic. But
Ah.
if the owner is not realistic in en-bloc sales, then there's no deal.
Yeah.
So what this means is, I think collective sales market may
Maybe
be
cooler.
cool further
Yeah.
if owner is not realistic.
Yes.
All right. So there is also lower land betterment charge in certain locations, right, Eugene?
Yes. Biggest decrease was in CCR area. So they dropped between 11 and 19%. I think
Right.
largely due to cooling measures like ABSD 60%.
Oh yeah, ABSD 60%.
Yes, less to.
So primarily, most of these foreigners buys in the CCR location, right?
Correct.
Okay. So how about that landed residential? How is it affected by land betterment charge?
So certain LBC for landed homes increased by 7.8%. So that's higher,
highest
than non-landed.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know why? Because over the last few months, the last year, you actually see that the landed price have actually gone up, right?
Yeah.
Quite substantially.
So that's why the land price go up.
So the land betterment charge is just doing a catch up.
Yeah.
On the landed segment.
Yeah.
Okay. So how will this means to the landed property prices in the future?
I think you can expect landed property price to be higher.
Well, if you were to buy a plot of land and you redevelop for your own stay, I think that is not so
affected because
affected.
you buy one, you tear down, you build back one.
Yeah, build back one, correct.
But where instances where you buy a bigger plot of land and
so it's like
subdivide
boutique developer,
boutique developers, for example, they do buy a plot of bungalow land, then they subdivide into
so in the mixed housing
2 or 3 or 4 houses.
They can actually subdivide.
Yes. So in these instances, the calculation of the floor area becomes important, and if they would exceed that certain number, then they will have to pay LBC.
Right. So that means you may have to pay higher.
Okay, if my cost is higher, I have to
new landed property.
Yeah, I have to sell you higher, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. Okay, next thing that we're going to talk about tonight is the significant real estate announcement across Asia, especially the news about Hong Kong removing all the cooling measures.
No more cooling measures in Hong
Kong. How good this happened in Singapore?
Yes, correct.
Do you think that will happen in Singapore?
Let's look at it in perspective. Why did Hong Kong remove the cooling measures?
Okay, Eugene, come.
So in the first place, why did they implement cooling measures? They follow us also, right? Because the market was very hot, right?
Maybe we follow them.
No, their market was... Well, typically, if you look at the Hong Kong property market, it is more speculative.
Right.
More speculative in nature. People buy and flip, and they are also affected by a lot of China buyers who bought into Hong Kong. So prices went up significantly, and they have to pull a hard stop to it. So they implemented very hard property cooling measures, right? But after implementing the property cooling measures, the market cooled significantly. And coupled with the recent developments in China,
they cool very badly.
Right? Recent developments in China where there are a lot of financial things happening. I think the market became very, very, very quiet in Hong Kong.
Right, especially after the default of bonds from the big developers, Evergrande, and all these news.
These measures are done. This removal of cooling measures is done to resuscitate a property market, like some people
So it's like
say,
a warming measure rather than a cooling measure.
It's a warming matter, or some people say it's a resuscitation. Resuscitation of a market that is almost dying.
Okay, so once again, go back to that golden question: will Singapore government remove all the cooling measure?
I think we put things in perspective. Our market is not as speculative as them. Genuine buyers in the market, right? The new home market speculation is very low because largely we don't sell options. We're not allowed sell options. And
new home market.
There's also seller stamp duty.
Yes, that's right. But so in overseas like Hong Kong and China, they actually allow new homes to sell their options.
Yeah, correct. Because you can buy and or nominee. In Singapore, you buy new homes, you cannot put and or nominee.
Oh, so eventually the real buyer is not actually the buyer's name.
So there's no way you can legally flip.
Right.
In Singapore.
But Singapore
our market is not.
It's very well controlled by the controller housing in Singapore.
Yes, and in Singapore, the supply of land is majority come from government land sales sites that we just talked about, right? So the supply is managed by government, whereas in Hong Kong, right, and in other places like China, land supply is not from GLS side. They don't have GLS, right, in Hong Kong or in China. So you know,
Okay.
supply is not regulated.
So the supplies can be very huge, like in China.
Yes, which comes to our next point.
Yeah.
China is ordering the drafting of housing development plans all the way to 2030. I think they need to do this to address the oversupply situation.
Well, they are actually calibrating their land supply by the government,
Yes.
like Singapore.
Yeah.
So they're trying to...
They realize that if they don't put in some form of measure to calibrate the land supply, it will result in oversupply.
Okay.
So oversupply does a lot of damage to the overall market.
Right. So government's concern about the meltdown in the housing market is expected to roll out various policy tools over the next 2 years to support the property market in China.
So compared to Singapore, Singapore is already very well regulated as far as land supply, which is basically GLS.
Government land sales.
Yeah, government land sales. And then
the BTOs.
BTOs, right? And then the controller of housing is the licensing authority for developers.
And also giving approval to launch that project.
Correct. So the control is very tight in Singapore and very well regulated. So we may hardly see a situation where there's oversupply.
And I think our financial institutions are also very well managed by the government.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so that there won't be a debt crisis that we see in China.
Yes, ours is more on regulating the pace of price increase. So that's why the cooling measures are there to regulate, to prevent prices from increasing too fast.
Okay, actually, Eugene, we spent a lot of time this evening. Okay, let's go to the last point that we want to share with all our audience here, which is on the harmonizations rule.
Yeah, what is harmonization?
How to calculate that sellable area.
Okay, so put it in a very simple way. Before 1st of June 2023, different government agencies have a different way of establishing what is a floor area. All right, so the way they calculate gross floor area is different from the way strata area is calculated. So
there's a GFA and also a strata area.
So you know, we buyers, when we buy a condominium, we buy based on strata area. But strata area, the way they calculate is different from the way they calculate GFA. So example, right? In the calculation of GFA, void area, double volume ceiling, void area.
So if you buy a unit that has high ceiling.
Yes, it's not included in the calculation of GFA, whereas it's included in strata area. Right. And then for aircon latch also, it's included in saleable area, but not strata area.
Okay.
Or not in the GFA.
So let's look at the definition. The key changes are summarized as follows. All floor areas will be measured to the middle of the wall.
Yes. So this follows the calculation of strata area because our strata area is calculated from the middle.
And all strata area will be included as GFA?
Yes, because then the GFA building construction area was calculated from the edge.
So the void space and the aircon latch will be excluded from the strata area?
Correct.
So
this is a good thing. This is the best thing actually. All void spaces and aircon latch. Okay.
I see. So
maybe we use a floor plan to explain.
So BCA and SCDF will adopt a line definitions of the SGFA computation, which is, they're all standardized now.
So that's why they call it harmonization. Last time, it's all the different government agencies, URA, BCA, SCDF, and everybody else has all different ways of calculating.
Okay, so this applies to all GLS and industrial GLS sites launched for sales on and after 1st September 2022.
Yes.
And which site was that?
So the site that is affected is the Langtor Mansion.
The one that is now...
This is the first project that go on sale that is
and this project has just launched.
Yes.
And is open for viewings
just
right now.
Open for...
And it's under that harmonizations of floor plate definitions.
Correct. So how does it impact?
I think all those of you who are watching this Realty Talk right now, you should go and take a look and have a feel on how it impacts the unit size of that development.
Yeah. So if you go to, for example, the Langtor Hills area and you look at all the existing projects that has already been launched up to Langtoria, okay, those were not affected by harmonization.
Okay, let's check out what is the difference here for it says lower saleable floor area expected with the change.
Yes. So so you will find that for a similar size unit, a 2-bedroom, for example, the 2-bedroom in Langtor saleable area is smaller than a similar 2-bedroom in Langtor. In Langtor Mansion will be smaller area. So
okay, let's take for example Langtor Mansion versus Langtor Modern.
Okay.
So both from the same developer, and for post-harmonization is actually 61 square meter. Pre-harmonizations of GFA is actually 63 square meter.
So largely because before the harmonization of floor area, your saleable area includes the aircon latch. You pay for the aircon latch.
Okay, so in this case,
in Langtor Mansion,
is not
in Langtor Mansion, which is post-harmonization area.
But you still have the aircon latch.
The aircon latch is there, but you don't pay for it because it's excluded from the saleable area.
Oh, so it's not calculated as part of the 61 square meter.
It will not become your strata area.
But it's in the floor plan.
Yes.
Okay. So
whereas pre-Langtor Modern, the aircon latch is in your strata area and you pay for it.
Okay. So what's the difference? Does it mean that post harmonizations of GSA, because it is lower in the strata area or the GFA, does it mean that it's going to be cheaper?
So because of this harmonization of floor area, developers loses about 5% of the floor area.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they
so
sell,
in that case,
for about 5% less floor area.
In that case, the price cannot be lower.
Correct. So that's why the per square foot price
has to be higher.
Likely to be higher.
Right. So for example, for this example, all right, Lentor Hill Estates, sites not affected by harmonizations and sites that's affected by harmonizations. In this case, we all know is Lentor Mansions that have just launched for sales. The price quantum between developments that is before harmonization, after harmonization is quite similar.
Yes, the dollar value
is quite similar. But the price per square foot is actually lower for before harmonization. And it's higher per square foot.
Simply you take the same price divided by a smaller floor area.
Times the smaller floor area.
You get a higher per square foot.
Right. So you take a lower per square foot times a bigger area, the quantum is the same. Okay, so the saleable floor area in this case for the sites before the harmonization is higher, and after the harmonization is lower.
You buy with aircon latch, buy without aircon latch.
Okay, but the livable space, actually they are the same. They are the same.
Can't live in the aircon latch, right?
So I believe this scheme was set to make the saleable area more transparent.
Yes. Correct.
But it doesn't mean that it will lower the per square foot price. But in fact, it will only means that developer has to be more creative in planning for that space, or rather you call that space planning.
So you find that post-harmonization, the developer is very meticulous in space planning. So if you look at the units layouts that is affected by harmonization of floor area, they tend to be more efficient. And they pay very close attention to how they can make use of every square meter of space.
So I'd like to take this opportunity to invite all our friends here in tonight's webinar to go and take a look at Lantoria and also Lentor Mansion over the next few days and over these weekends. And these show flats are open for viewings. Because for Lantoria, which is on sales, they are not affected by the harmonizations rule. And for Lentor Mansion, it is affected by the harmonizations rule. Go and check it out. The show flats are open. And look out for our ERA trusted advisors. They will be able to advise you on the pricings and also the units that is available for sales.
And of course to help you to select the unit that will match your lifestyle.
Okay, Eugene, that sums up our presentations of Realty Talk this evening.
Yes, indeed. We've covered quite a lot of ground tonight.
And I am so glad because I have fulfilled my mission this evening in the last slightly more than 1 hour in empowering people like you. Okay, Eugene?
Till our next show, we'd like to say good night.
Good night to you.
Thank you.
And have a nice evening.
Yes, thank you.